And some breaking news coming in. Lashkar-e-Taiba has been exposed by Republic TV as we access exclusive video from the JDU headquarters in Lahore, which shows how JUD leaders, Jamaat-ud-Dawa leaders were getting live updates of terror attack at the DPS school in Srinagar. Abdul Rahman Makki was monitoring minute-to-minute updates. We have also the Minister of State in the PMO, Jitendra Singh, joining us live on this. The situation extremely concerning in Srinagar and in rest of Kashmir Valley as incidents of stone pelting are reported. Let's go across to my senior colleague Payal, who joins us with Mr. Jitendra Singh, the Honorable Minister of State in the PMO. Over to you, Payal.
Well, of course, yes, on a day when the country is celebrating Eid, these sort of incidents coming to light. We'll speak to the minister in the center over here, senior minister, also who comes from the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Dr. Jitendra Singh. Sir, to begin with, we've got this breaking information that video is clearly out, how the Jamaat-ud-Dawa was watching and getting minute-by-minute updates as to what was happening yesterday at the DPS school. Clearly, JUD and their link exposed. This comes in at a day in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already spoken about, the fact that Pakistan has been embarrassed because of the terror strike, the fact that, Donald Trump and him will also be speaking about terror as well as the need to expose Pakistan before the world.
No, certainly, and to add to what you've said, I think this completely disrobes and unmasks the so-called protagonists of Kashmir who have claimed to have waged a war for the so-called cause of freedom in the name of Islam. And I think it would require them to do a lot of explaining to justify what kind of a freedom struggle or its ideology justifies this kind of an approach, and which verse in Quran justifies this kind of a violence, that too in the holy month of Ramzan and on the festival of Eid. And having said that, let me also recall and also bring back to your mind that these are the same protagonists who had been demanding that the Indian military and the Indian paramilitary forces should declare a unilateral ceasefire in the month of Ramzan. And on the other hand, these same very worthies are instigating common masses, innocent masses, to indulge in violence at the risk of their lives. And if that be so, I think they are also neither faithful to the cause of so-called freedom, which they claim to project, nor to the cause of Islam, which they expect others to trust them for fighting.
These shameless cowards did not even spare a day like Eid, when obviously people would like to go and greet each other. It's a day of brotherhood. It's a day of friendship. On that day as well, we see stone pelting happening. We see pro-Pakistan elements, coming out with Pakistan flag, hailing Hafiz Saeed. Clearly, all this is happening on Indian soil. What is really the situation like? So how can the situation really be controlled and be allowed to happen?
Not only that, I think even the strategy that they have adopted, which ultimately is ending up in consuming their own, is in itself a self-destructive strategy. You would recall when Mahatma Gandhi came across the burning of a police station where some of the British cops were involved, he put off his protest saying what use is freedom, whatever be the holy cause, if it leaves behind a trail of widows, a trail of orphans and a trail of deceased. And if this is the kind of freedom that they wish to achieve, leaving behind a trail of widows and orphans in the Kashmir Valley, I'm sure even the people of Kashmir are not going to forget them for that. And now the people of Kashmir, particularly the youth who comprise more than 65% of the population, have awakened to this duplicity of approach. This is nothing but politics by convenience, separatism by expediency. They are not faithful even to the cause of separatism or the cause of so-called freedom which they wish to propagate.
That was coming to my next question, sir. I remember very, very clearly for the longest you've been saying that, their wings are going to be clipped. These separatists are going to be taught a lesson. Right there in the heart of Kashmir, a deputy SP gets lynched. Of course, a mockery is made even out of that, sir. We've been often hearing a lot of rhetoric saying that, the separatists will be dealt with. Of course, we do understand that the NIA has taken stringent steps as well. But how are they allowed to continue with their dirty design when all of that is complete? When do we see a concrete action? Because obviously questions are being asked of your alliance over there. Mehbooba Mufti has been on and off, speaking about separatists. She did not speak a single word when it came to, glorifying the army, sir. There are questions that the common man of this country really want to know. What's really happening, at least on the governance front?
No, I appreciate your concern. And in fact, that should be the concern of every right-thinking, patriotic Indian. But I would rather also put it this way, that if at all, it sometimes appears to be more of a rhetoric which is not in tandem with what is happening on the ground. It is simply because all that is being done of late in the last few weeks is not always made public for strategic reasons, for tactical reasons, but certainly the kind of decisive action which has been initiated against the terrorists and also the perpetrators of terrorism is something which was not witnessed for years together by the earlier regimes. So the present government is confident, it is determined to bring this crusade to its logical end. The separatists are finding themselves in a spot. The terrorists are certainly on the run. There are hit lists being prepared, and you would appreciate the number of terrorists who are being liquidated every day. Yes, all these details are not made public, and therefore what is said, which could be said only publicly, sometimes appears or sounds like rhetoric.
A very important question, sir. Today, on a day, yesterday we've seen how the entire operation was carried out. It was a long, it probably landed up being for about close to 24 hours, when they tried to sanitize the entire area. Two terrorists were also eliminated. The hand of Lashkar-e-Taiba is clearly now out. What does that mean in terms of the investigation? What does it mean in terms of the people over there? What does it mean in terms of the forces as well? Obviously, because they are fighting a battle by the day, sir.
Yes, it has implications at multiple levels, as you said. At the outset, I would say at a time when Prime Minister is on a visit abroad, and it is, I think, the single most credit goes to Prime Minister's foreign outreach during the last 3 years, that India's viewpoint as far as terrorism is concerned is now being accepted by almost the whole of the world, and even those of the nations which were earlier either unconvinced or half convinced about India's viewpoint have now come around to understand that the war against terrorism has to be fought collectively. You can't have a distinction between good terror, bad terror, or good nation, bad nation. So terror is a terror is a terror, and it has to be likewise accordingly treated. And that itself is a huge achievement and also a reason for reinforcing the morale of the military forces, which now feel that they have much more amount of professional freedom to retaliate both inside the boundaries as well as on the borders. Even on the borders, the people living on the borders stand testimony to the fact that the kind of retaliatory action they are witnessing was not witnessed for years together.
We saw a historic scene yesterday when the Prime Minister was addressing the Indian diaspora. He very, very proudly spoke about the forces, spoke about surgical strike, which nobody questioned but Pakistan, because Pakistan had a reason to question it. Today he will be meeting with Donald Trump. Obviously Donald Trump has also said that he wants to meet up with a friend and discuss a lot of issues. We do hear that terror will also be one issue which will be discussed widely. The kind of way in which the US has been looking at terrorism and all that. How do you see this meeting with the Prime Minister, sir, really? Because the Prime Minister at various platforms, including even recently when he's been visiting other countries, has spoken about the need for the world to come together for terrorism. How do you see this meeting with Donald Trump and the terror being featured over there?
No, honestly speaking, it would not be my brief to predict what the Honorable Prime Minister would be saying. But yes, as far as US is concerned, it has, like most of the countries of the world, come round to India's viewpoint, and it has realized the peril of terror, which is evident from some of the recent decisions, the recent measures adopted by the Trump government. And therefore, I'm sure this war against terror will be fought collectively, and as far as Kashmir is concerned, the government under Prime Minister Modi will bring it to a logical conclusion.
My final question to you, Dr. Singh, in a couple of days you will be taking the president nominee across to Jammu and Kashmir, obviously where he'll be meeting with legislators over there. What kind of an impact can have? How will people look at it? Will you be making a reach out to people? How will this visit of the president nominee over there also make a difference? Because he will be interacting with the legislators there. Will he also be reaching out to people and talking about the situation?
You see, Jammu and Kashmir is a part of India and is a state of Indian Union as much as any other state, be it Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, etc. And therefore, when our presidential nominee, Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, is going to different states, he is in Uttarakhand today, he was in Uttar Pradesh yesterday, and as a part of that sequence, he would be visiting, of course, the summer capital of Jammu and Kashmir, namely Srinagar, on Wednesday, where, of course, he would be interacting with the NDA legislators and members of parliament. But at the same time, of course, we would all also appeal to the legislators and the members of parliament from other parties to see reason and to vote for the nominee put up by the BJP.